Jnanakosha, an encyclopedia of Vedic knowledge by Pact. Vedas. Rig Veda.
ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपवस्त्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणान् ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः
Jnanakosha Upanishads, Rigveda based Upanishad, the Kaustika Upanishads.
ओम वांग में मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो में वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् अविरावीर्म एधि वेदस्य म आणीस्थः ऋतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु मामवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ओम शांति शांति शांति।
Jnanakosha Upanishads, Rigveda based Upanishads, the Kaustika Upanishad, chapter 4. Now then, verily, there was Gargeya Balaki, a famed Vedic scholar. He dwelt among the Ushinaras, the Sattvans and the Matsyas, among the Kurus and the Panchalas, among the Kashis and the Vedyas. Having come to Ajatasattu of Kashi, he said, "Let me declare Brahman to you." To him then Ajatasattu said, "1,000 cows we give to you." At such a word as this, verily indeed people would run together, crying, "A Janaka, a Janaka." In the sun of the great, the moon the foot, in the lightning truth, in thunder sound, in wind Indra Vaikuntha, in space the plenum, in fire the vanquisher, in water brilliance, thus with reference to the divinities. Now with reference to the self, in the mirror, reflection, in the shadow, the double, in the echo life, the sound death, in sleep Yama, the lord of death, in the body Prajapati, in the right eye speech, in the left eye truth. Then said Balaki, "Him who is this person in the sun, on him I indeed meditate." To him Ajatasattu said, "Make me not to converse on him. As the great, the white-robed, the supreme, the head of all beings, thus verily do I meditate on him. He who meditates on him thus becomes indeed the supreme, the head of all beings." Then said Balaki, "Him who is the person in the moon, on him indeed do I meditate." To him then Ajatasattu said, "Make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him, asking Soma as the self of food. He who meditates on him thus becomes indeed the self of food." Then said Balaki, "I meditate on the person, indeed, who is the person in the lightning." To him then Ajatasattu said, "Make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as the self of truth. He who meditates on him thus becomes indeed the self of truth. Then said Balaki, I meditate on the person in the thunder. To him then Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as the self of sound. He who meditates on him thus becomes indeed the self of sound. Then said Balaki, I meditate on the person in wind. To him then Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as Indra, Vaikuntha, or as the unconquered army. He who meditates on him thus becomes indeed the triumphant, the unconquerable, a conqueror of adversaries. Then said Balaki, I meditate on the person in space. To him then Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as the full moon active Brahman. He who meditates on him thus becomes filled with offspring, cattle fame, the radiance of sanctity, and the heavenly world. He reaches the full term of life. Then said Balaki, I meditate on the person in fire. To him then Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as the vanquisher. He who meditates on him thus becomes verily a vanquisher of others. Then said Balaki, I meditate on the person in water. To him then Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as a self of brilliance of name, thus with reference to the divinities. Now with reference to self, then said Balaki, I meditate indeed on the person in the mirror. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as a reflected likeness. He then who meditates on him, thus a very likeness of him is born on his offspring, not an unlikeness. Then said Balaki, I meditate indeed on the person in the shadow. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as the inseparable double. He then who meditates on him thus obtains from his second and becomes opposite of his double. Then said Balaki, I meditate indeed on the person in the echo. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as life. He then who meditates on him thus passes not on into unconscious before his time. Then said Balaki, I meditate indeed on the person in sound. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as death. He then who meditates on him thus does not die before his time. Then said Balaki, I meditate indeed on the person who while asleep moves about in dream. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as King Yama. He then who meditates on him, thus to his supremacy everything here is subdued. Then said Balaki, I meditate on the person who is in this body. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as Prajapati. He then who meditates on him thus is augmented with offspring, cattle fame, the luster of sanctity, the heavenly world. He reaches the full term of life. He then said, Balaki, I meditate on the person in the right eye. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as the self of speech, the self of fire, the self of light. He then who meditates on him thus becomes the self of all these. Then said Balaki, I meditate on the person in the left eye. To him Ajatasattu said, make me not to converse on him. I meditate on him as the self of truth, the self of lightning, the self of brightness. He then who meditates on him thus becomes the self of all these. Thereupon Balaki was silent. To him then Ajatasattu said, so much only, Balaki? So much only, replied Balaki. To him then Ajatasattu said, in vain indeed did you make to converse, saying let me declare Brahman to you. He indeed, Balaki, who is the maker of these persons, of whom verily this is the work, he alone is to be known. Thereupon Balaki, fuel in hand, approached, saying, receive me as a pupil. To him then Ajatasattu said, this I deem a form of conduct contrary to nature, that a Kshatriya should receive a Brahmana as pupil. But come, I shall make you understand. Then taking him by the hand, he went forth. The two then came upon a person asleep. Jatasattu called him, saying, O great white-robed king Soma, but he just lay silent. Then he pushed him with a stick. He got up at once. To him then Ajatasattu said, where in this case, O Balaki, has this person lain? What has become of him here? Whence has he returned here? Thereupon Balaki understood not. To him when Ajatasattu said, where in this case, O Balaki, has this person lain? What has become of him here? Whence he has returned here, as I asked, is the arteries of a person of the heart called Hita, the beneficent. From the heart they spread forth to the pericardium. Now they are as minute as a hair divided 1,000-fold. They consist of a minute essence, reddish brown, white, black, yellow, and red. In these one remains while asleep. He sees no dream whatsoever. Then he becomes unitary in this vital breath. Then speech together with all names goes to it. The eye together with all forms goes to it. The ear together with all sounds goes to it. The mind together with all thoughts goes to it. Then he awakes as from a blazing fire. Sparks proceed in all directions. Even so, from this self, the vital breaths proceed to their respective stations. From the vital breaths, the gods, the sense faculties. From the sense faculties, the worlds. This very vital breath, even this self of intelligence, has entered this bodily self up to the hair and the fingernail. Just as a razor might be hidden in a razor case, or as fire in the fireplace, even so this self of intelligence has entered this bodily self up to the very hairs and nails. On that self these other selves depend as upon a chief this own men, or as his own men are of service to a chief. Even so these other selves are of service to that self of intelligence. Verily, as long as Indra did not understand this self, so long the Asuras overcame him. When he understood this, striking down and conquering the Asuras, he attained preeminence among all gods and all beings, sovereignty and overlordship. Likewise also, he who knows this, striking off all evils, attains preeminence, sovereignty and overlordship over all beings. He who knows this, he who knows this. Om, may my speech be based on accord with the mind. May my mind be based on speech. O self-effulgent one, reveal thyself to me. May you both, speech and mind, be the carriers of the Veda to me. May not all that I have heard depart from me. I shall join together. And nights through this study, I shall utter what is verbally true. I shall utter what is mentally true. May that Brahman protect me. May that protect the speaker. May that protect me. May that protect the speaker. May that protect the speaker. Oh, let there be peace in me. Let there be peace in my environment. Let there be peace in the forces that act on me. Here ends the Kaustika Brahmana Upanishad as contained in the Rig Veda.